Hey guys, welcome back to the predicted 23 for round 4 against Port Adelaide at the Adelaide Oval. My name is Ari. Before we get into it, we'd love to hear from you. Do you agree, disagree? Let us know in the comments. We love the engagement. Last week, let's quickly go over it. Pretty good week. I said Cooper Sharman and Travalia would come in, and Liam Stocker, Hunter Clark would come out. Got those right. I did think Liam Henry would get up. It sounds like he's going to need a few more weeks in the VFL just because they want to get his conditioning right, which meant Isaac Kilda did stay in the team. Steele, of course, also was a late out, and Hasty was a late in. But yeah, pretty good week. So let's get stuck into this week then. Jack Steele in, Liam Stocker in, out, Liam O'Connell, Angus Hasty. I think the thing that probably is going to jump off the page will be the Angus Hasty out. Is it harsh? Yeah, it is, but AFL selection is harsh. He didn't necessarily do anything wrong. I think it could be him or Keeler, depending on team balance, but I think Keeler probably will stay in until Max King comes back, which we'll get to in a second. But I think just if he was going to go out, it probably would have been last week, just in terms of how they're trying to balance the team right now. But I think Keeler may get lucky, and Hasty will be the pawn that falls. So yeah, Jack Steele, he's a test going into this week. This is assuming he gets up. I think he will. Liam Stocker's also a test, but I heard Ross saying that the concussion symptoms were gone after a few days, so I think he should be right too. And he's almost certainly going to have to come in because we have Liam O'Connell coming out of the side, but for a concussion as well, unfortunately. So yeah, I think the changes are pretty clear this week. Hasty, I think, is just unlucky. Nasiah Wanganeen-Malira and Jack Sinclair just have been unbelievable off half back, and Ross is not showing really much interest in moving those two players elsewhere, and I think that is where Hasty would play. I don't think Hasty has the defensive capabilities to play the role of a Stocker or a Webster. Now, Webster is a test, so Hasty could see himself still keep his spot in the side if he doesn't get up, but again, we'll get to that in a second. But yeah, I think that's why he's lucky. So yeah, really him or Keeler. O'Connell obviously out, and Steele and Stocker coming in. You can't obviously keep your skipper out, despite the team performing very well on the weekend. We have to keep in mind that was against Richmond. But yeah, Stocker, I think, comes in, plays that defensive role nicely. So let's talk about who else could be in contention. As I said, there's a lot of tests this week on the injury report. So anyone on the fringe, like a Hasty, maybe even, an Ari Showmaker, they're a chance to be in, because if one of these players doesn't get up, that will be the case. So yeah, Webster, Stocker, and Steele are all tests. I think they'll be right. Now, Dan Butler, he's a test also, but I just don't think there's a spot for him. I mean, Max Hall and Lance Collard have just been tearing it up, and I don't think Butler's going to have the luxury of just walking back into the side, which, by the way, is a great thing for us. It's a really good problem to have, and Butler's just going to have to earn his position. He'll have to probably wait for either an injury or maybe one of those small forwards is slightly out of form and he's dominating at the VFL, but he's really going to have to earn that spot. And I don't think it's going to be this week, and maybe they want to play him in the VFL anyway, to condition him for AFL footy. But yeah, as I said, Webster, Stocker, and Steele, I think that they're all tests, but I think they'll be right. Henry, as I mentioned, I think they're just going to continue to condition him over about a month's period in the VFL, so probably at least a couple more weeks there. Not in contention for this week, but exciting to note on the injury report, Max King is 1 week away. So whether he's a test next week, he plays VFL, we'll see, but pretty exciting news. This is giving a sneak peek into next week, but I do think he will play against the Giants in Gather Round next week. Hunter Clark also 1 to 2 weeks away. Also exciting news on the injury report, Alex Taru is available, but I do assume he'll play VFL. It'll be interesting to see if potentially some of these players who are going in with a slight injury cloud, if any of them don't get up, will Alex Taru make a shock AFL debut? Maybe not a shock, but almost out of nowhere make his AFL debut. That'll be an interesting one just to keep an eye on. And of course, I just want to mention Ari Showmaker, Angus McLennan, Hugh Boxall, Harry Boyd, Pat Said, all playing really well in the VFL. So if a spot opens up, all of those boys will be looking to take that spot for themselves. Jack Carroll as well, unfortunate news. He was doing really well in that VFL side, but he's going to be out for 4 weeks with a hamstring strain, I believe. So that's unfortunate for him, because he was looking close. If the spot opened up, he was potentially going to take it. So yeah, unfortunate for him. As we mentioned, with the players being dropped, that's going to be a team balance thing. And yeah, I guess holding their spots this week. Just some players in the team that I think we can. There's some talking points to. Hugo Garcia, I just want to bring him up to say, please never be the sub again. I think he almost got a bit of a kick up the arse after round 1. Didn't have his best performance, and they said that's not good enough. Relegated him to the sub, but he quickly, got his opportunity again. Played fantastic. That was what all the Hugo Garcia hype was about. So no more sub for him as long as he keeps that up. So well done to him. Like I mentioned, Max Hall and Collard both definitely holding their spots for this week. Collard has sort of come out of nowhere. We didn't really think he was ready for AFL yet at a consistent basis, but based off the 2 games he's played, he's got energy, he looks dangerous, and as of now, he's going to be keeping Dan Butler out of the team. At least I hope he is, because I think that's the fair thing the fair play to make from the selection panel as of now. And yeah, just a great problem for us to have. Cooper Sharman came into the side last week. Just, it wasn't, he didn't blow anyone's socks off, but just got that game under his belt that he needed. And I hope he has a big game this week, potentially matching up with Aliir. So that will be an interesting one for sure. What else have we got? Zach Jones, Toby Travalia, Ryan Burns, Marcus Windhager. All these players I want to mention because I think those are probably the fringe players right now. But I think they all should remain in the side. They're all playing well, and obviously the team is performing. So until any of them gives us any reason for them not to be in the side, I think they all should remain. Jones has been incredibly consistent these last 2 weeks. I know round 1 wasn't fantastic. Travalia, I mean, that was a great debut. That was exactly what we were looking for. Not sure why he wasn't playing earlier, to be completely honest, unless there was some sort of injury the club wasn't telling us about. But yeah, Burns has been really good, and Windhager as well. He's been phenomenal these last 2 weeks. So definitely should be keeping his spot in the side. So let's go over the side. From the full back line, Liam Stocker, Callum Wilkie, Jimmy Webster. From the half back line, Nasiah Wangani-Malira, Anthony Caminiti, and Jack Sinclair. On the wings, we've got Darcy Wilson and Bradley Hill. Half forward, Max Hall, Mason Wood, who's just been tearing it up in the forward line. I think he's equal 4th in the Coleman right now, so good on him. Mitch Owen's also been huge. Collard, Sharman, Higo on the full forward line. Higo, I think, 2nd in the Coleman, maybe 3rd. He's doing fantastic. And then in the midfield, we've got Royal Marshall, Jack Steele hopefully coming back, Jack McRae, and Hugo Garcia. Rounding it out on the bench, we've got Toby Travalia, Isaac Keeler, Zach Jones, and Marcus Windhager. Now, I've put Burns as the sub. I hate picking the sub every week. I wish we just had 5 bench players, to be honest. That's a whole other video in itself. But he hasn't done anything wrong. I just don't know who else to pick. Maybe Jones. Yeah, I really hope it's not Toby. I don't want to see him as a sub, really, really ever, to be honest, because I love what he's bringing us. He's a top 10 pick. I want to get full games into him. And I've just picked as emergencies Harry Boyd, Ari Showmaker, Angus Hasty, I think. All those boys, specifically Ari and Angus Hasty, should certainly be ready in case any of these tests do not get up. So yeah, that's the selection for this week. Not a huge week for selection. Obviously, we're winning, so the selection hopefully remains pretty short. It's only bringing back players from injury and players coming out with injury. So next week will potentially be a big one with Max King. But until then, Saints fans, we'll talk next time. And yeah, up the mighty Saints.